But I do, ooh, heartburn. I do agree. Food and water, the actual survival aspects, they weren't tuned, they weren't adjusted, they weren't made more challenging. They remained the same. It's just the environment is set up to be less intensive towards survival. There are, compared to Subnautica, there is a vast increase in the amount of edible flora, not just decoration, actually, gives you food, nourishment. Some of the food heals you and some of the food warms you up, all these extra options to make hunger and thirst a moot point. Yet y'all are like, let's introduce the cold mechanic that, because you have to survive. They remembered it's a survival game. They put the cold mechanic in, to kind of like be the land portion of the game's equivalent to the oxygen meter underwater. But then they made all the other survival elements trivial, and then they added something later on in the game which completely removed the survival aspect. Like, in Below Zero, it's going to get to a point where the PDA might as well pop up a message and be like, would you like to turn off hunger and thirst for the rest of the game? You might as well be playing in freedom mode, right? Where, you can die, but, there's no hunger and thirst. You might as well cut the temperature off, too. You might as well just not even play the game, to be honest. Fuck it. Go ahead and put it out there like that. Bob is me replies. Think I'm going to try to skip it. Could do with the salt, but I think I can deal with it. Well, I can't think of anything he would be using salt for other than to cure some fish. In Subnautica, salt was used to make the mid-tier water. You would mix salt with some tube coral. But they've completely removed the mid-tier of water from this game. You can't manufacture it, but you can find it. And they still haven't added the nutrient block. But don't worry, we get something better than the nutrient block later. What game is Volcano Sheep playing? The Sims? Like Tyra says, it's not really about surviving in Below Zero as far as I can see. You'll unlock salad, and all your survival problems will go away. I think the game's more about the story now and finding interesting PDAs. Too bad the story sucks and the PDAs aren't really interesting. Although I will say this. Unknown Worlds, whichever one of your writers did the Mercury 2 logs, out of all your writers, out of all three, I don't know why you've got 3 writers for your game. You went, is that standard? Is that normal? Maybe the issue is with my perception, but it seems weird, the more cooks in the kitchen, right? You put too many cooks in the kitchen, the recipe's getting messed up. Well, I don't know who or whom wrote the Mercury 2 PDA logs, but out of your 3 writers, if you plan on keeping any of these for like hiring them maybe for a future project or keeping in touch with them, I think it's there. I don't have nothing nice to say about Zare as a person. I've got awful things to say about her. As a writer, I've got some kind things to say about her. She's got a lot of room for improvement, but goodness gracious, compared to the rest of the writing, she's your talent. And you should have given her more to write. And if she did write more than the Mercury 2 PDA logs, did Zare write for Alan? Alan occasionally has competent writing. Occasionally. And I feel like that creativity is shunted by Unknown Worlds demanding, oh, you write for us, but write within the confines of our demands. I don't know. Oh. Boy, I love beating bushes. Here we go. Try doing a run where you don't kill anything. For one, let me just state the obvious. That's off topic. this topic is about the water purifier, and already Auldwolf is off topic. He was still talking about the game, but off topic. Things are balanced more in this game around that notion that perhaps Robin IU doesn't want to do that. Being more of a researcher and all, she doesn't research anything. We're going to get, Auldwolf's going to basically get into Subnautica is all about murdering and killing everything. That's patently, blatantly false. Any player's perception of Subnautica is their personal perception. Riley Robinson, his personality, beyond curious and inquisitive and probably a little bit brain damaged from that metal panel doming his ass in the head. Maybe that's why he doesn't talk. He's got brain trauma. But, yeah, there's nothing about the storyline required going around and killing shit. If anything, the storyline required cooperating, communicating with the environment, helping to hatch these eggs that have been dormant for almost a millennium because the conditions weren't safe and proper for them to have. We do wonderful things in Below Zero. Okay? I'm not Below Zero. We do wonderful things in Subnautica. By the end of for the players that do get to the end of the game, you accomplish so much. The things that you've done, the things that we've seen, and I mean, the challenges that we've overcome, the places that we've been to, it's an incredible experience. But Auldwolf is going to basically, well, I'll just read the post and get to it. So perhaps the goal is to survive while leaving less of an impact. Unfortunately, Robin's choice to come to the planet stops all that. I made this point previously. Robin chose to come to the planet. Any impact that she leaves, it's all pointless. All could have been avoided. Mutualistic behaviors, anything, any kind of buzzword he wants to bring up. Robin's carbon footprint was optional. Riley did not have a choice. The ease of accessing the water purifier is tied into that, where you have other options. Well, we had more options in Subnautica. We had bladderfish, and then we had salt and table coral, which gave us water, gasp. And then we could get the water filter, which, gasp, gave us water. We had more options. You can still use the fish if you want to. Nothing is stopping you from using the fish. But you now have other options than murdering everything in sight. The way that he words that insinuates we had no option other than murdering everything in sight and Below Zero. I mean, in Subnautica, and that's just that. I mean, that's not true. You didn't have to murder everything in sight. There's actually there is a very large and popular portion of the community that likes to do a vegan run on Subnautica, to where the first thing they do when they get out of their life pod, they make a beeline to the floating island. So the first thing they can do is scan interior grow beds or exterior grow beds and pick up marble melons. That's it. That's all they need for the rest of the game. You don't got to kill anything. But Auldwolf is disingenuous. I think the point that Below Zero wants to make as a game is that there's more to survival than just dominating and eating. I'm pretty sure eating is essential to survival. You actually have to fucking eat. I don't know where he's going with. There's living and experiencing, which are very necessary for sentient creatures. Again, we did that in Subnautica. What's his point? It's also a choice for a sentient mind, whether they wish to be a parasitic or mutualist. Oh, God, he keeps repeating himself. Well, it was Sam's decision for her to be a terrorist because she was parasitic. Because if you don't like Alterra, but you're still under them and you're working for them and you're using their tools and you're using their resources and you're living in their shelters and you're eating their food, you're being a fucking parasite. Next video.